Now, welcome to World Chefs Podcast. I'm your host, Ragnar, and this is World on a Plate. In this episode, I'm very excited to welcome a special guest. We have with us here today a very talented, acclaimed chef, Ana Roš. Ana is a self-taught chef from Slovenia she helms the kitchens at Hiša Franko, a world-renowned three-star Michelin restaurant located in the Soča Valley. So Ana crafts dishes that are rooted in the nature and shaped by the place, so turning herbs and foraged ingredients and traditional Slovenian flavors and products into tasting experiences. And in 2016, Ana was featured in the Chef's Table on Netflix. And then in 2017, she was named World's Best Female Chef. And most recently, in 2025, she was named second best in the world at the Best Chefs Award. So in addition to that, Hiša Franko's first restaurant, Ana also founded recently Jazz, which is a more casual dining concept, as well as Ana Roš Drinks. It's a very interesting line of ready-to-serve cocktails. So I'm very excited to hear more, and I'm very proud and happy to have you with us, Ana. And thank you for joining us on your busy schedule.
Yeah, I'm happy to be with you.
Thank you so much, Ana. We did a little bit of research about you to find out your history, and so we found out you are a very competitive alpine skier, and you later studied diplomacy before ever entering into the kitchen. Maybe can you tell us a little bit about your transition to becoming a chef? How did that happen?
Well, it's a love story.
Ah.
Eventually, I was really into almost professional skiing and dance as well.
Ooh.
And then I got injured just before I turned 18. And that was the time when I had to decide a little bit about my my future. So I wanted to be a professional dancer, but then that just dropped to the water. And so I just returned from a long trip to Africa with my parents. We were in Tanzania, where our best family friends moved to. And so I thought that diplomacy after the trip would be something I would like to somehow study. I'm empathic. I like helping. I thought there is like a range of opportunities somebody can do for the humankind to become a better world. Yeah. But then in the third year of the university, I did my internship at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And I understood that diplomacy is actually more about papers. And so I graduated 2 years later, but I'm not paper person. So and it was the time I met my ex-husband. I wanted to work in one of the European Commissions as a diplomat translator, but then I fell in love with gastronomy, not knowing which door I'm opening at that time, because I mean, Slovenia has been nothing, and there was no interest in Slovenian food at that time. So I started this long journey of building up who I am now.
And how did you find and shape your culinary identity? We'll talk more about your culinary identity later, but so how did that evaluate?
Well, I was motivated and I'm ambitious by a personality in general. But there was also a struggle to survive because once with my now ex-husband decided to take over Hiša Franko, that was in 2000. We needed to somehow build a gastronomy destination, a tourist destination, to bring people in a small valley where only 3,000 people live. So we needed to work hard on being different, creative storytelling, and that has been extremely painful and long-lasting period. So basically, if I reassume how my life was, I was mostly breastfeeding my children during the night and studying at the same time. I have like the whole library of books and technical books about the cooking. And then on the other side, during the day, I would be working from morning to morning, sometimes failing, accepting my failures, and learning with failures how to improve and how to get better. At the beginning, the team was extremely small, up to the Netflix, I would say. So wasn't really the easiest time. Uh, I mean, I was doing bread, peeling carrots, potatoes. I know that my to-do list up to the noon was long like this, so there was not even time for coffee. But then after Netflix, we had to professionalize the team. I needed to start delegating my work because there were a lot of other obligations, and of course the work also increased a lot. So yeah, the journey was. It's like if you look at the stairways, and they some are very steep. These are very fast careers. Mine wasn't so steep, but was consolidated step by step all the time. So today we have 40 people working in Hiša with a beautiful head chef, a beautiful restaurant manager, a beautiful team who is with us since 7, 8, 9 years. So yeah.
Amazing story. I can see there's a lot of passion and hard work and blood, sweat, and tears behind to be where you are today. And so, congratulations on that. And so, more about the Hiša Franko. As you mentioned, find your own identity was very important to bring people into the Soča Valley. Why would and the restaurant is very rooted into the valley and its surrounding nature. Why was it important for you to build a cuisine that is connected to the place and its producers, and how did you bring that together?
Well, of course, one of the first logical reasons is that we are so far away from the producers, resellers, suppliers,
Mm,
that, the 2.5 hour drive through the mountain roads for one restaurant only doesn't really bring the suppliers into the village. So the only way to be able to cook was to connect with local community,
mm.
which at that time wasn't the fashion. That was the time of the molecular cuisine. So
Right.
I think my idea has been pretty challenging and pretty new. Um, and especially because mountain people are not so self-confident regarding their products,
Mm,
and so it has been like opening the doors day after day to convince people to start working with us. With that, we of course got very original products that are different from majority of the products that you can get around the world. The flavor, let's say, of cottage cheese, of lamb, of the trout is completely different than in other places. And that was the base for my creativity to make this place unique and worth traveling to, in a way that, I want to discover new flavors, and I'm interested in different perspective as well.
mm. Oh wow! So how can you tell us a little bit more about your unexpected flavor combinations and so can you give us an example of what you are working on and what sort of ingredients and dishes for our audience?
So Hiša Franko has this fantastic position between alpine and Mediterranean world. So
Mm,
whichever mountain you climb around Hiša Franko, you can spot the Gulf of Trieste, so the Mediterranean Sea. So we are around 30 kilometers air distance from the sea only, but in high mountains at the same time. So this combination of the sea um, and the Alps, or the Mediterranean countryside or Alpine countryside, really makes it very different from other cuisines around the world because it's a logical combination. So one of the crazy dishes when we were still not a lot in the kitchen, we were more playing on the shock effect more than on somehow so many techniques because we were not enough in the kitchen. I still remember there was a squid from Adriatic Sea. We call it the Jadranski calamar, which is very sweet, a little bit thicker, but super tender. And I filled it with lamb sweetbreads, and then from the inside of the squid, all interiors, I made a very thick black sauce, which had a very umami flavor, and then I combined it with the re-fermented cheese from our mountains that we actually mature in our cellar, and I topped it with I think fava beans, and that was the dishes that people still come back and they say like once upon a time we had it, can we have it again? Yeah, of course, today the kitchen of Hiša Franko is a lot more sophisticated from what it has been, but I like strong, long flavors. Like I want people to remember what they had, not just oh, do you remember that dish? Maybe yes, maybe not. No, you have to remember it. It's important.
Sounds fantastic. Actually, I would make a trip just to taste that dish. I'm just trying to imagine in my head. So does the Slovenian traditional food play any role in your kitchen, or is it sort of or are you looking for pushing boundaries more than keeping to your heritage food, or what is sort of the balance?
Well, the balance is the ingredient.
Mm.
Because sourcing locally, it means first we support the local community of farmers, and it's about the traditional farming
Mhm.
or dairy production as well. So one of the no-go dietary restrictions in Hiša Franko is no dairy, because the valley is built on dairy production. I'm talking about unique small farms. Um, but when you use um, interesting local products, uh, you actually stay connected with the local community. And that's, I think, the legacy and the future. So we make sure that the farms don't die. We make sure that the farmers keep on growing because we demand. On the other side, we become a kind of ambassadors of our land because people come and say, "Wow, that cottage cheese was so amazing," or that I don't know, the flavor of the butter is so different. Yes, it is because this is our respect to the legacy and to the community. So this is where the connection happens. Otherwise, no, I don't cook traditional cuisine, mm, but I make interpretation of it through the ingredients.
Mm. Yeah. And then you created a jazz by Ana Roš, which is your more casual dining concept, and even expanded that internationally into Croatia. How is that based on the same philosophy, the jazz concept, similar produce and or is that a very different experience?
So I'm just in Yazin Porridge in this moment,
Hmm.
in Croatia. It's about still being super local regarding ingredients and being super seasonal regarding the ingredients, but there is a little bit more of like simplicity, or somehow, in fine dining, you think, I mean, if the fork falls down, somebody will come and hit you. I'm joking, not in Hiša Franko, but sometimes you have this impression.
Yeah.
While Yaz is meant to be a young dining experience, it means sharing concept. So four people, they order practically the whole menu. They try to taste everything what they can.
Hmm.
Um, you untie yourself, you relax. There is a louder music. I made it put down because I'm on the podcast with you, but otherwise there is the atmosphere, there's a vibe, and everybody is welcome. Not that in fine dining they're not, but of course there is
Yeah.
this price
More
price
accessible.
story that, of course, how acceptable are things, while Yaz is something you can afford on a daily basis. But still, the story is about being local, being seasonal. So if in Ljubljana, it's driven by the local market. In
Yeah.
Istria, it's driven by, which is only 5 minutes walking away. While in Istria, it's based more on fishermen and products from green Istria, so coming from farmers.
Right. So the Yas always has this anchor in the local influence. So so they're all different in a sense. Well, they both are different, and I guess you will want to expand that further in other locations, the Yas, or
Yeah, we are just discussing a possibility
ah,
of opening a Yaz in Prague,
right.
in the old city. I think Yaz is something that every city deserves to have.
Mm,
So great signature cocktails, great non-alcoholic program, which is all homemade, and then great food to share, like food for soul, I would say,
mm,
joyful food.
mm. Yeah. And speaking of cocktails, you launched the Ana Roš drinks, a line of what you call ready-to-serve cocktails, which were inspired by Slovenian terroir originally. What sparked that idea to translate your culinary philosophy into a bottled drink, starting with Negroni? What was it inspired that? And can you tell us more about the line of cocktails that you have created?
Yeah, so the fun story is that today I was working up to 3 in the morning on a new version of a Negroni and Vermouth. We were the natural wine producer, Movia, and I was like, we are not going to sleep until we have a perfect product. And I thought, like, there was like a full table of glasses, and I was like, I don't know if I can taste anymore. But then the click came, and I got the solution. So the story is that in Hiša Franko, we have a very strong non-alcoholic and cocktail program, beside the wine program. The person in charge is Davide Rovagnati, an Italian coming from Lago di Como. He was a student of Anja Skrbinek, who was before in charge of the drinks in Hiša Franko. So it's a kind of a parallel kitchen. So whatever the kitchen, maybe, I don't know, peels of rhubarb or carrot peels or stems of something, or leaves of something, or I have to harvest in my garden, I don't know, 4 bags of basil, and then the mixology team is always there, and they try to somehow make the best out of, let's say, what the kitchen doesn't need to make great drinks. So I find this combination of mixology in the kitchen like a perfect marriage. And so a lot of people fell in love with what we are doing because it's very low on sugar. It's also low on alcohol, but very low. Let's say our vermouth doesn't have any added sugar. So the storytelling is about vermouth is actually not Slovenian, of course, but it's a great base for a great Negroni, and Negroni is one of my favorite drinks. So first we needed to create a vermouth to make Negroni happen. So yesterday, for instance, how we worked was like we realized that the first version of Negroni was a little bit too high on bitterness, but also vermouth had bitterness. So we were kind of killing it down, and then we were during the night we went harvesting bay leaves, and at 2 in the morning, I got the idea how to make a better extraction of bay leaves in tinctura. And at 3 in the morning, we had like the perfect drink. So the idea is like sometimes you go home, you don't want to go out for cocktail. You want people to enjoy a great drink, which is not necessarily wine sometimes, to have ready to go cocktails. Also, in Hiša Franko, we pre-batch cocktails because at the aperitivo time, everybody comes at the same time. And you just pour it over a beautiful cube of ice, or with some orange. We usually suggest how to drink it. The idea is that this line, in this moment, we have cola. So it's not a Coke. It's cola, which is based on mountain herbs. We are having vermouth, and the new version is coming out in 2 weeks' time, and the Negroni. And then we will do vermouth spritz instead of Aperol spritz. And then we did fig leaf kombucha. So there is plenty of creativity behind it, but plenty of opportunities as well. Because I believe today, it's not only about the food, but it's also about what we drink. And I mean, we can all have water all the time. But sometimes you wish for something different, but you just don't want to go out to the cocktail bar. And that was the idea, and we didn't actually spare with energy, creativity, or ingredients. We really went wild into it. So, for instance, vermouth and Negroni, no added sugar at all. So I think we're the first one in the world regarding that.
That's really fascinating, and yeah, when you listen to you speak, and I think for our listeners as well, really it motivates us to come and taste and try more.
Oh,
Uh,
you can order it. I think we
oh,
just got the license to export it. So I think 2 days ago we are licensed to sell it to wherever you want around the world.
wonderful! So we will put the link in the podcast page. We will put the link where you can find your drinks and your products
Yeah,
on the board.
absolutely. And by the
With
way,
the,
we worked on labels a lot.
um,
If you buy a drink, just look at the label. It's like all
uh,
hand designed and handwritten, so very beautiful.
very personalized. Yeah, excellent. And so now I can hear that you're a very a busy woman. You have your fingers in a lot of different things, and you're very you go into depth and details of everything you do. So now I know that so Hiša Franko, the menu is changing with the seasons. So you have your chef there's planning the spring season. What will be the most inspiring thing now? As we move into the spring season, what will be some of the development you have in?
There is always the development, in the kitchen. There is. It's sometimes difficult in the mountains because you are limited with your ingredients
Yeah,
to say, and I make something completely different because you are making it since 25 years and oh my God, again, let's start again thinking about what can I do with the nettle? What can I do with the wild asparagus? What can I do with wild hops? What can I do with the wild watercress? But then, I don't know. I think as we are growing up, we are maturing, and every year you see the same ingredient through another eye, through different eyes, and um, and things just start changing. What we are focusing in the last 2 years is for the food not to be only challenging for people, but to be yummy.
mm,
So you know what? Can I have another of this one? That's such an award. It's
mm,
rewarding when somebody says to you, "Can I just have another one?" In the 16-course menu.
right.
The focus is, of course, still the food to remain light.
Yeah.
Um, I, 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 I mean, I am in my life. I eat light food, and I believe in light food. I believe in interference between fruits and vegetables. And that's something that we are investing into since some time already. That's what makes a little bit Hiša Franko also different because if you analyze the menu, you can see the fruit presence in the menu is really persistent. Um, but then you have to come and see what's going to happen with the new menu.
Mm, mm,
We are, I think, somewhere in the first part of April, we are out with it.
right, right. So now you are well busy trenching to spring at Hiša Franko, opening up the new Yaz, maybe a third one, who knows? Anything else that you have? Well, the drink line of drinks. Now I've numbered a lot of things. My next question was going to be anything else on the horizon for you? Anything else that is you're excited about,
Yeah,
or
I have to
what is
finish my
next?
book. Absolutely.
Your
I'm on
book.
the page
Oh,
450 and I cannot finish it
ah,
because there is so many things going on that I keep on writing, keep on writing, keep on writing, because writing is a kind of my opening my energies. And some people cycle, some people swim. I write. So I need to finish my book, and that's now the first priority.
well, I hope it comes out soon because we'll be looking forward to hear from you and let us know when it's out so we can.
Yeah, it's autobiographical fiction. Maybe even the murder is included. So you never.
Excellent. Can't wait for hearing that. No, so well, again, I want to thank you very much for joining us, Anna. Just to end our conversation, for our listeners, the chefs who might be wanting to open their own restaurant, so your experience and your advice of how to, the importance of creating a culinary identity and how you go about to find your identity to succeed.
You need to remain always true to yourself. So it's sometimes really going deeply down, and it's hard to see, things going deep down, but they need to get deep down so you have like a kind of a platform to go up again, and don't give up on a first crisis situation. There is gonna be a lot of them every single day.
Wow. That's encouraging, I'm not sure, but very useful. Thank you very much.
It's
So,
encouraging, of course. I mean, you
yeah,
stay.
absolutely. So perseverance and hard work and stay true to yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, and sometimes the said in short terms is the most impactful. Uh, Again, I want to thank you, Anna, for joining the podcast. I know you've been really busy. We've been waiting a long time to get you on this podcast, and so I'm so glad you found the time to chat with me today. And so we'll be looking forward to following what you're doing in the future. And we put on the podcast, put the links to your social media and the restaurant, so all our listeners can also learn more about you. So thank you again.
Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you, Anna, and thank you, our listeners. You're listening to World on a Plate. This is World Chef's Podcast, and I'm your host, Ragnar Fredriksson. Until next time, take care. Bye bye.